Hi, Paul. Hi, Christine. Hi, Peter.
Hi, Andrew. Hi, Christine. Hi, Peter.
Hi.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, Bob. Hi, John. Ed.
Howdy, everyone.
It's a new year.
So this presentation
Presentation.
presentation, that's what you need to ask. Make it easy that way. Like talking is
Windows.
Okay, so this is just the people that are on Zoom, but where's the meeting part? Where do you see what the music is playing?
I'd like to welcome everybody to the first meeting of our year and hope that your holidays were very special. We'll start this year off with an invocation by one of our best invocators.
Thank you, sir. Absolutely no need to bow your head. I'll do that for you. I got it here. Good looking Rotarians in 2022 here. Hey, God, Bill here. No, not pizza Bill, dollar Bill. How you doing? Listen, I'm in front of this great group of people at Escondido Rotary. Like, what? Like who? Well, there's a whole room full of people who serve others. There's some great physicians who cure people, treat people. There's some lawyers. No, not that kind, the good kind. There's some business owners who provide services people need, like fences and pools and air conditioners and solar panels. What? Yeah, I know, you put the sun up there in the first place. I got that. There's mothers and fathers who've raised responsible citizens. Some of them are even grandparents and great-grandparents. Listen, I don't really have anything to ask for this great group because, frankly, you've blessed us so much. Just living here in the U.S., we've won life's lottery. What? Oh, you're not a big fan of gambling? I'm sorry, though. So let me just tell you how thankful we are to be together, to start a new year with all your wonders to behold in 2022. Thank you for another day to serve others, which is the rent we owe for our space here on earth. Thank you for all those who've gone before us and paved the way with their faith, their courage, and their hard work. Bless each person in this group and their families in the year ahead with health, wisdom, and a heart to serve others both nearby and far away. And see if you can give some humility to those Alabama fans this next year. Amen.
You know, I spent 40 years working with creative people as a patent attorney, and that was cool. I thought that was really good. All right. Jackie Skay will honor us by leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
It's great to be back on this first Rotary Tuesday. Please join me in Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hard to mess that up, but I did.
But you looked so good. All right. We have a battle hymn of the Republic. And then it'll be a couple of minutes. But I've prepped her and she's ready to go. If you can't tell, she is ready to make an announcement. Dr. Doug is going to lead us in the battle hymn of the Republic. But I need to tell you, when I sang with the Tabernacle Choir, I learned something about this song. You need to know. It came about because the composer was sitting next to Abraham Lincoln. And they were watching a parade of Union troops marching down in front of the Capitol. And they were close, and they marched by the stand with the president there, sitting next to her, as she was a famous poet. And she turned to him and she said, "Is it really necessary that these young men who are walking into death's row should go to their battle singing this song?" And it was the tune of the battle hymn. It started out as John Brown's Body, John Brown's Body, da-da-da. And they turned that song melody, as you might expect with military situation, they turned it into gross language. And they were singing it, and she turned to President Lincoln and she said, "Why? Why do they go into battle singing that kind of language?" And he said to her, "You need to write new words to that melody." And so she did. And it became the battle hymn of the Republic. And Dr. Doug is going to lead us.
Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the fateful lightning, his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on.
All right.
One more thing while you're bringing up our next guest.
So it's Kristen.
Yes,
Okay.
but we want to share.
Please have a seat.
Let's see, PowerPoint right there, right?
Yeah.
Because that's just not being shared to the crowd. There we go.
Okay, all those who have guests and are guests, would you please stand and make introductions so that we can get better acquainted? Okay, Sandy, you've got your two guests there.
Stand up.
Stand up too. Oh, good. President Vaughn and fellow Rotarians, I would like to introduce Alex McLaughlin and Christina McLaughlin. Thank you. I panicked that I had that one wrong too. They are the DBA for the city of Escondido.
Good morning. Whoa. Good morning, fellow Rotarians. President Vaughn. I'd like to introduce my guest today, Escondido Realtor, not Rotarian, Realtor Sherry Mosdell. She's an immediate past president of the Asian Real Estate Association of America, who are strong advocates for our Asian communities here in San Diego. Also want to welcome our Zoom guests, members Christine Montan, Paul McNamara, Robert DeZubla, John Steele, Irv Erdos, Chip Lanzi, Fred Baranowski, Rachel Carrington. There's a lot of people by Zoom today. Vate Campbell, Jill Campbell, Dan Sundquist, Larry Trotner, and Jan Jones.
Wow, we've got the power block on Zoom. Welcome, you guys. Thank you for coming in. All right, so Kristen will, oh, yes.
And our speaker, who will be introduced again later, Jonathan Schaubel, who's the principal engineer for the city of Escondido and a rabid University of Minnesota alum. Go Gophers.
All right, thank you, and welcome to all of our guests. Okay, Kristen. I think, yeah, we're good.
Hi, everyone. There are no visiting Rotarians today, but we'll go ahead and sing our howdy song for our guests. Howdy, we're glad to have you here. Welcome, we sing it loud and clear. Relax, enjoy the program, and hope you come back and see us again.
All right, thank you. So next on our agenda, we're going to talk about some member moments, and Jay is going to bring us up to speed. I think we just have one today, Hope.
So Fred says hello. He's doing better. He's able to sit up now, and his blood pressure's doing better, and he's being able to get around, and the goal is to be able to transfer better, and once he can transfer better, then hopefully he'll be able to come back and join us for the meeting. What? I spoke with Trent, and Trent is doing very well. He had his hip replaced and is recovering nicely, and I think that it's going to be another couple months, and then he'll be going back and supervising rather than doing the contracting, and then he'll join us as well.
All right, thank you, Jay. So I need to make a couple of announcements before we do the birthdays. Actually, we got 2 slides, Marilyn, before we get to the birthdays. But you may not have been aware that Vocational Service Month is January. And we have had a little bit of confusion as to what the Vocational Committee really does. We've made some alignments, some realignments that, for example, Ron's work with the Wounded Warriors has been under vocation, is now shifted over to community service. And Escondido Shines Committee, which has been under vocation, is now under community service, which makes sense. I bring this up because vocational service, if you can read that small language, gives Rotarians the opportunity to help others escape poverty and gain a measure of self-respect. We do have a program that we started this summer that does exactly that. The tennis giveaway to our students, young people, mainly focuses on the Hispanic community and the challenges that they have of staying in sync with good community as opposed to some of the gang activity we've talked about in previous meetings. This club is recognized in the county as having a major influence to help young people grow up feeling a part of the community so they don't try to escape into gang life. So tribute to this club and to Larry Troutner and to those who have helped with the tennis training program, where we're working with Compact to give a personal value to their lives as they learn to play tennis and learn to be part of a team. And it's just a great program. So that's officially part of our vocational service, in case you weren't aware. So in addition to Vocational Service Month for January, the AHH cleanup team under Escondido Shines has a major project tomorrow, and Larry's not here to explain that, but the county has saluted the Rotary Club of Escondido as being an example of what it ought to be, what organizations ought to be as part of the community cleanup program. We adopted, Larry's leadership 5 years ago, adopted the intersection of I-78 with City Parkway and Broadway, and we've been cleaning that up. How many have participated in that? This is a strong effort that we not only have our club members, but we have other Rotary clubs. We have the Kiwanis Club that helps. Interact is also helping. So just so you know, this organization will be featured on a TV news broadcast because the county wants to recognize and encourage this kind of support in the community to keep our community beautiful. So they're going to come and take some pictures. If you want to be part of this, you're welcome. Comb your hair, brush your teeth. If you're going to come and be part of the video tomorrow morning, it's at 9:30 at our usual spot up at 78. And you need to find out where it is, because it's not easy to find out where to park. Anyway, they are honoring us as a club for what we're doing, and we're going to be an example across Southern California of what others could do if they adopt a highway to keep it clean. All right, I think that covers the announcements. The coming programs next week is the sheriff, Bill Gore, and Elizabeth Freed. It'll be interesting to learn how to hire a rock star. The Fire Watch group out of the county will be the 25th, and then speech contest on the 1st of February. Okay, Marilyn runs our birthday recognition, and so she's going to review with us those special people who celebrate a January birthday, and then we'll sing.
Thank you, President Vaughn. Welcome to 2020 and 22. I never thought I'd live that long. Anyway, for January birthdays, we have Kelly Cloud on January 5th, Vaughn North, our own president, on the 7th, Alex Galinas on the 14th, Pat Reno on the 14th, Kristen Gaspar on the 16th, Jay Grossman on the 19th, Kurt Beyer, 21st, Larry Troutner, 29th, and Elizabeth Wolford on the 29th. Let's wish them all a happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rotarians. Happy birthday to you.
All right, what a way to begin the year. Rotarian of the Month. It's such a privilege to be able to do this. Wendy, please come up, would you? You know, she has a lot of things that are very positive in the years that she's been part of Rotary. Building club relationships is part of the Escondido Shines Committee. Assuming temporary club service duties. at least until she becomes an official board member on July 1st. And then volunteering with the Christmas social event that we enjoyed at her home a couple of weeks ago. She's a special person, and Wonder Woman is her tag name, and she does that. So I am happy to give to her the certificate of Rotarian of the Month for December of 2021. Thank you.
Well, this is the reason I thought I was coming up here, was to make an announcement about the bell ringing. So Mark Luttrell sent me a text message and said it was a record-breaking situation of $2,516.20 from ringing the bell. Thanks so much. And thank you for this, too.
You know, it's just another example of this little banner here. Best Club Award 2021, Escondido Rotary Club. I hope you are proud of that event. Okay, moving on. You need to read this. I got this note from some source and they never even identified themselves. So it says, message from Secret Naming Committee. Before COVID-19 shut down our weekly meetings, we had a grand tradition of bringing our members closer together by knighting them with nicknames. I know about that. The Renaissance Man deal was really meaningful. We wish to begin our new year by resuming that warm tradition. Today, we welcome Roxanne Rostami to our community and to Escondido Rotary. Roxanne is the new manager of Banner Bank. Roxanne, please stand. And she gets to receive her official name. And whoever you are out there, you secret committee, you did a good job. You did a very good job. And doesn't she look like a princess? We have a lot of very famous people, Jonathan, in this club. And we just added one more to it. All right. We have two more special people that we would like to honor. And would Alex and Christine McLaughlin come up, please? I met these people when I brought, with Paul McNamara's help, the concept of Escondido Shines, and we started the committee. And we came to Alex and Christine and said, we would like to be part of the new program you're putting together for the Escondido Tamale Festival. They started that first year, and it was so impressive. And they have done so much with it, and they've done so much to support Escondido Shines and Downtown Business Association. They are most deserving of this award, and it's a special day where we focus on Downtown Business Association and on our Main Street. So, Sandy, take it over.
Thank you. Alex and Christine, this is a certificate of appreciation, both from our Escondido Club and Escondido Shines, for contributing to community pride through development of the Escondido Tamale Festival and strengthening of the Downtown Business Association with joint efforts for enhancement of Grand Avenue and the image of Escondido. Thank you very much. And wait a minute. We also give the pictorial of Escondido. So thank you so much for all you do.
Can you join me in a picture, Sandy? Thank you.
Perfect.
You got it yourself.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, it's time to introduce our speakers. And I don't know whether, Jonathan, you realize this, but we always begin with a special fun song written to pay tribute to your life and what you bring to the community. And we have a very gifted person, Jay Grossman, who is going to provide you with the lyrics, and he's going to lead us in the song. I think it's to the tune of Downtown. This is the first time we've done this one, right?
Correct.
All right. Everybody gets to help.
You gonna have the words up there?
Oh, yeah. You want to press that one when you're ready for the next verse?
Oh, okay. This?
Yeah.
Okay. If you need a treat or just want to eat, you can always go downtown. Go see a movie or art that is groovy. You can always go downtown. If it's outside that you are pining, DBA has now allowed for sidewalk dining. Come downtown. Try not to be blue, good things will be coming soon, and they all need you. So come downtown, just enter through the arch downtown. It makes you wanna march downtown, where it's all waiting for you. That's it.
Thanks, Jay. I'm not sure where some of the words went, but we made it through. All right, good job. All right, Dr. Moyer, if you would do the honors and introduce our distinguished guest.
Thank you, President Vaughn and fellow Rotarians. It's my pleasure to reintroduce Jonathan Schabel. Jonathan was born and raised in Minnesota. Okay. Received a Bachelor of Geoengineering cum laude from the University of Minnesota, a Master of Science in Civil and Environmental Engineering from the University of Nebraska. For 3 years after graduate school, he worked in various engineering firms, then 21 years as the project engineer and program manager for the city of Carlsbad. And fortunately, Escondido was able to lure him away, where he currently serves as the principal engineer for our city.
Okay.
Give your slideshow to everybody, okay? So let's go back to share screen. And there you are.
Go. Right. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Can I raise this? There you go. Got it. Thank you. So fitting in with the theme today of downtown and the Downtown Business Association, I'm going to be presenting this afternoon on the Grand Avenue Vision Plan. Can you hear me okay? Great. Okay, first a little background information. As you know, that there's been an interest in improving the downtown area for a number of years, and the obvious benefits would be to improve the ambiance, increase the vitality, increase the vibrancy of the downtown area, and enhance the business opportunities down there as well. There is some, obviously economic benefits to improving the downtown area. The city took the advantage of, there's a grant opportunity offered by Sandag, and that's called a Smart Growth Incentive Program, and that is funding through Transnet, which is the half-cent sales tax in the county. And its sole purpose is to support projects that do these kind of things, like enhance downtown areas and focus on increasing pedestrian activity, making more pedestrian friendly, less car centric. And so with that, the city embarked on a journey to come up with a vision plan for Grand Avenue. And that started a number of years ago, obviously before I was with the city of Escondido. And you probably recognize in that picture the old eucalyptus trees that were in the downtown median there for a number of years. And I mentioned the economic benefits. There were some case studies looked at. And here, for example, the city of Lodi invested $4.5 million in its historic downtown. And they did some of the similar things that we're going to do, widen the sidewalks, add some diagonal parking. They looked at lighting as well, gateway signs. And they saw a 30% increase in sales tax revenues over the next 3 years. And their retail vacancy rates dropped significantly, as you can see. Also in the city of Lancaster, they did a similar reinvestment in their downtown, a little over $10.5 million. And some 5 to 10 years later, that spurred $125 million in private investment in their downtown area. And that showed an increase of 26% in sales tax revenue and also created a lot of new jobs. And closer to home, this is down in La Jolla in San Diego. Of course, many of you have probably driven through here, the Bird Rock area. And when they put in those roundabouts, it was pretty controversial at the time. They put in some of the first roundabouts in the county. And they saw, again, over a similar period of time, a 20% increase in sales and a 90% decrease in traffic incidences and crashes. And again, that's due to the roundabouts primarily and the narrowing of the roadway. So when the city of Escondido started on this journey, of course, they needed input from the community and the public. And so the first step was to create a committee of downtown business owners, property owners, residents, and brought in a local expert from Kimley Horn, an engineering firm. And I'm sure some of you in the room participated in these meetings. So the first meeting was in August 2017. And some of the things that came out of this meeting was an interest in wider sidewalks, narrowing the roadway, adding some parking, of course, outdoor dining, and then creating a sense of place, make it a destination people want to visit. And then after that committee meeting, there was a public meeting in October of the same year. And these are just some pictures from that meeting looking at sort of design boards, which showed different ideas and concepts for the downtown area. This meeting was pretty well attended. I understand there's over 80 individuals attended that meeting. These are some examples of the idea boards that were presented. Of course, on the left, you can see those are things that are already in Escondido. And then on the right were some ideas that were shown for things that could be implemented. Things like string lighting, public art, banners, signage, entry features, entry monuments. Here's another idea board showing different design aesthetics. You can see in the middle there's different materials that you could use, colored concrete, pavers. And again, these were presented at the public meeting. And then there was a second committee meeting, and again, this is primarily the business owners and property owners downtown. And this was in January of 2018. And different ideas were actually voted on at that meeting. So for example, the most popular features were things like diagonal parking, widening the sidewalks on both sides, and again, the traffic circles or roundabouts at Broadway, Maple, and Kalmia. And in order to widen the sidewalk, we had to eliminate the medians between Maple and Kalmia, and you'll see more slides on that. That creates a little extra space so that we can narrow the roadway to provide more room for the sidewalk and the widened outdoor dining and retail space. So this was the result of those meetings and a lot of work from city staff and consultants. They came up with a vision for Grand Avenue called the Grand Avenue Vision Plan. And you can see it's kind of color-coded. It's a little bit schematic. These are not obviously detailed drawings, but you can see that there's the thing that jumps out is those 3 traffic circles or roundabouts at Maple, Broadway, and Kalmia. And also you can see there's the darker brown or darker tan is widening the sidewalk wider than it is today, making it more pedestrian friendly. And historically, Grand Avenue has been 2 lanes in each direction. And this Grand Avenue vision will narrow it down to 1 vehicular lane in each direction, along with some other improvements. And this cross-section kind of shows what does that look like at ground level. It's one thing to say it, but to actually see it, this is kind of a rendering showing the extended wider sidewalk. It's shown here at almost 20 feet wide from the front of the buildings to where the curb line would be. And on the right side, we've got angled parking. One of the reasons that angled parking is advantageous is it allows more cars to be parked, basically. It takes up more space compared to parallel parking you can see on the left side, which only takes about 8 feet of width from the curb line to allow for parallel parking. And angled parking takes more than double that, but you can stack up the cars and you can get approximately double the number of cars, a little more than that actually, in the same amount of length of roadway. And you can see there's just 1 travel lane in each direction. And by moving the center line, you can create that widened sidewalk on both sides of the road. So it's not just widening on the side that has the parallel parking. Even with the angle parking, you can still widen that sidewalk. You just have to move the center line over and again, take out those center medians. So drilling down, that was the whole vision plan for the whole area. But if you just drill down on phase 1, and this is the project that's starting construction next week out on Grand Avenue. Phase 1 does not include any traffic circles or roundabouts. So I'll just state that up front in case there's any concerns out there. We do have a traffic circle planned for phase 2, and I'll have another slide about phase 2 later. But starting with that vision plan, we had limited funding for phase 1. You'll see in a minute how much funding we got. As I mentioned earlier, there was that Smart Growth grant from Sandag. And we also had to have some matching funds from the city. And so phase 1 is we got environmental clearance. We went through the CEQA process for the entire vision plan. But we also have money for construction of a smaller project. And so that includes the lane reduction we talked about and the median removal from Maple to Kalmia. And widening the sidewalk on the north side of Grand from Maple to Broadway. And with some pretty exciting lighting improvements. And I think that's really the neatest part of this project. And I'll show you what that might look like in a future slide. And we're adding a handicap parking on Maple south of Grand Avenue. And we realigned the bus route to 2nd as it used to run down Grand Avenue. So this is one of the idea boards, and it shows, you can see in the middle picture at the top, there's lighting stringing across the roadway. Now, that's obviously taken from somewhere else. That's not going to look like our Grand Avenue because that's a pedestrian-only plaza. Obviously, we're going to have cars going through. But you can see this picture showing those crisscross lines across Grand Avenue. That's going to be string lighting, which some people call festoon lighting or market lighting. And those are going to string across the roadway and crisscross. And that's going to extend not just to Broadway, but also to Kalmia. So that requires the installation of new streetlights that are much taller so that you can run those string lines. And even with the SAG, you've got a high clearance for things like fire trucks and high clearance vehicles. So I mentioned the grant, and you can see here the exact dollar amounts. We got 1.44 million from SANDAG as part of that grant, and the city's matching is coming from our Transnet funds, which is, again, that's the half-cent sales tax in the county for transportation projects. So when you add those two up, it comes to about $2.5 million. And again, that's not just for construction of phase one, but that included the engineering design and also environmental clearance for the entire Grand Avenue vision plan. The total vision plan, if you add it all up, $1 million. So that's why obviously it would be nice to just be able to implement it all in one shot, but that's not possible given the funding. In phase two here coming up, scheduled to start on Monday, and that's January the 10th. And the project should be completed with construction in March. And we do have a city dedicated website, and that's the web address right there. And with that, you can get construction updates. You can sign up to get email updates on a weekly basis. And you can also, there's a FAQ, you can go in and figure out if you have a question, you need an answer. There's a lot of information on the website, so I would encourage anyone to check that out. Also, you can see below that there is an artist's rendering of kind of what it could look like. Now, again, that's just an artist's conceptual design from some years ago. So we're not going to actually have like these tall pillar looking thing on the right. But it just gives you a general idea of what festoon lighting or market lighting across the street could look like. And I think it's going to dramatically change the look and feel of that downtown area. So moving on to phase two. Recently, City Council approved $5 million in American Recovery Plan funding. And so that is a good chunk of money that will allow us to build a phase two project. At the bottom, you can see the time frame. We're looking at hiring an engineering consultant, going through the design process in 2022, which includes selecting an engineering consultant, taking that agreement to council for approval, and then going through the actual engineering design process. And so that we're looking at construction for phase two in 2023. So what exactly will phase two look like? Well, we're still going through sort of that detail scoping of that project. We actually have meetings, as you can see one of the bullets, we actually have meetings this afternoon and tomorrow afternoon with some of the businesses downtown to ask for their opinions. Of course, we do have the entire Grand Avenue Vision Plan already approved, but there's still room to make some tweaks and some changes. So that's why we're going back to the business community to get some more feedback. We could look at things like, you know, what's more important to you? Is it more parking or more width of sidewalk? Because these are little trade-offs that can be made for the phase two project. And as I mentioned earlier, phase two will include the traffic circle at Broadway and Grand Avenue at that intersection. One thing that came out of the community meetings for the Grand Avenue Vision was that the businesses and the community decided that they felt Broadway and Grand was sort of the heart of the downtown. That was sort of the center of the business district down there. And so it made sense to do that phase one project near Broadway. And since Maple Plaza has already been improved, it already has that really nice pedestrian plaza. It made sense to connect those two areas from the heart of the downtown to Maple Plaza. And that's why that phase one, even though it was a limited budget, we chose to spend the dollars in that area. Phase two will be expanded, as it says here, all the way to Juniper, from Maple to Juniper, widened sidewalks on both sides. And so that concludes my slides. As I said before, I'd recommend anybody to go to the Grand Avenue Vision Project website, and they can get updates on phase one construction. And that's my contact info there. And with that, I'd be happy to entertain any questions. I think you had your hand up first. That's a great question. And actually, we don't have funding secured yet for that final missing piece. And that's why we're calling it phase two and not completion or final, because really it's phase two, and with the obvious meaning that we will need to do a phase three at some point, and we will need to secure funding for that. I think you had your hand up. Wow. Well, as I said before, the diagonal parking actually creates more parking. Well, what it means is it takes up the width, so you can't widen that sidewalk as much. Yeah, you can widen the sidewalk a little bit, but you can't widen it a lot because you need to create enough space for the diagonal cars. Mm-hmm. No, the plan is to be equitable. I think I had a slide showing maybe the cross section here. You could see, I mean, this is pretty schematic, so don't quote me on every inch shown here, but you can see the extended sidewalk is the same on both sides. It's showing it at 19.5 feet. Yeah, so the trick there is you have to move the center line. So even though the angle parking takes up more width, you can fit more cars in the block to block. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll try to make it consistent because that's equitable and fair. So you can see here that on the right side, they're showing sort of the decorative fencing and some outdoor dining, and they're also showing a tree there, and there's room for pedestrians to walk. And we're trying to maintain a consistent look throughout the downtown. Oh, yeah. So the existing light poles will have to come out, but we are salvaging. We're not going to throw them away. We're going to salvage them at the Public Works yard, meaning throughout town, whenever you have a knockdown, car, knocks down a pole, it happens occasionally. Then we've got spares on hand. But yes, we would have to take out, because as you know, there's some of the streetlights are in the median, and we're taking out the median, so those will have to come out as well. And the new lights will replace the older lighting, but they're much taller. They're 22 feet tall, and that's so that we can string those string lights and have enough sag. No, actually, it's a different spacing. I'm not sure when the meeting was put in, actually. Oh.
I'm just curious how the business owners are reacting. I mean, I'm at the Innovate Lawn brand, but I'm not in the project area.
Right.
I imagine there's a lot of different feedback.
Yeah, and you saw the process they went through for the vision project, and there were multiple meetings. Some of them were focused more on the business owners, and some of them involved the rest of the community. So we'll probably have a similar trajectory with the phase 2, but the meetings that I was talking about this afternoon and tomorrow evening, that's just focusing on the businesses for now, because the sidewalk frontage is right in front of their door, so most greatly affects them. And so we want to get their feedback early before we go down the engineering process. And then if we find out that, you know, they're more focused on parking and they don't really care about a wider sidewalk, you know, these kind of trade-offs we have to discuss. We don't have a public meeting scheduled at this time. Okay. Yeah, there's multiple meetings. Oh, sorry. We're trying to meet block by block, so it's not like a big room full like 100 people. So we're having smaller meetings with block by block with just the businesses on that block. And again, it's just to get their input early on some of the ideas like trade-offs between parking versus wider sidewalk and that kind of thing.
I have a question here. What's the city's thoughts about stopping putting retail space in these high-rise, high-density apartment buildings? You know, we got economic failure with retail space, and also related to Grand Avenue, I see it as competition to take it storefront on Grand Avenue.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. No, actually, our deputy director of economic development was going to be here with me at this luncheon, but she couldn't make it. So I think I'd like to direct that question to Jennifer Schoeneck, and actually she volunteered to come to a future meeting. I hope I'm not throwing her under the bus. But no, she'd love to talk to you if you have some concerns. I think she had her hand up. You know, that is a concern. There's already diagonal parking in some downtown areas, and actually they're even going to reverse diagonal, if you can believe that, where you back into your spot. So we feel that this could work. It's not that uncommon to have diagonal parking, so people kind of understand how it operates. Also, I should point out that the figure that shows diagonal on one side and then parallel on the other, that was part of sort of just an overall concept. The actual phase one project doesn't exactly match what's shown on there. For example, on the north side of Grand, between Maple Plaza and Broadway, we're actually putting in parallel parking, but the figure actually showed diagonal because it was developed some years before we did the actual engineering. I think you were waiting. Mhm. Right. Yeah, for phase one, that is a concern because obviously we're widening the sidewalk all the way up to their front door. So we've got a few different things going on to try to hopefully improve that situation. One is the contractor is going to build wooden walkways so that when they demo out the existing concrete sidewalk, you've got some kind of access to your front door. The second thing we have going for us is a lot of those businesses in that area I just mentioned have backdoor access. So that would be nice for them because they've got another entry in the back. Not everybody does, but some of them do, many of them do. So that's another thing that to consider. As part of phase one, I think I mentioned there is some new handicap parking going in south of Grand on Maple Street. It's just around the corner. It's not like a long ways down the street. Okay, well, yeah, there's laws that govern that. We'll be looking at that for phase two as well. The handicap parking. I think you had
Phase two parking roundabout. When is phase two going to be in? We're talking about phase one, and how long a period is that before phase two comes in?
Yeah, next year for phase two construction, 2023. Oh, yeah, I think you had your hand up for a while. Like I said, it's possible that was considered. I wasn't involved with the early scoping of the project. But, you know, Escondido does have one-way streets already, so I'm sure it was considered. Oh, yes. So the current limits are as shown to Juniper, but ultimately we do intend to make improvements further west and further east. But those limits haven't been decided, and of course we don't have funding yet, even for finishing what we do have planned. So that will be down the road. We'll be looking at that. You know, so the questions come up a lot in terms of the K-rail, those concrete barriers. So ultimately, we would obviously make all these improvements and we could remove the concrete barriers. But in terms of the interim, but before all these improvements get completed, there is not right now a policy for forcing a business to do any certain thing with their frontage or their awning. But I know there is some consideration in the works to making some kind of a standard. I think the city of San Diego has some kind of a standard for their outdoor seating areas. So they'll be beyond the scope of the capital construction. That's more like a city policy decision. We out of time? Should I ring the bell?
Thank you, Jonathan. So we want to give you copies of the words of your song.
Thank you.
And feel free to share that with Jennifer. She could have been here, I think.
Right.
So thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being part of our meeting.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you all for being here today and for asking and being involved in the discussion. We will plan on getting together next week. In the meantime, enjoy your week.